Just a few months following the launch of the OPPO Reno3, OPPO Philippines announced that it will be bringing the new OPPO Reno4 here in the country very soon. In particular, the Chinese tech giant announced that it will go official in the country on August 14 at 5 p.m. So, without any further ado, let's check this new smartphone, the OPPO Reno4. Hi, this is Peter of GIZGUIDEPH, and let's begin. In terms of materials used, the OPPO Reno4 is still using a polycarbonate shell. It is 2.5D curved plastic back. It is a little bit plastic, and as you can see here, it has a nice gradient design. This one is the galactic blue colorway. I haven't seen the space black version yet. But what is different here is it now sports a matte-like texture. That means that it is not that prone to hairline scratches. And as you can see here, it isn't prone to fingerprint smudges. And that is one of the rare features that you won't normally see on mid-range smartphones. And I'm glad that OPPO noticed that, and they added that type of design that is normally found on higher end smartphones to prevent fingerprint smudges. Aside from that, as you can see here, the camera hump is now different. It is now using a bigger type of camera hump, and the holes are also larger, and there is a silver like plate here that reads innovative quad cam. It is a refreshing type of design. I like it in particular. This is something that makes this phone look a little bit more unique compared to its older smartphone designs. And in front, this is what I really like. The phone has a massive 6.43-inch display, and it is AMOLED. The display is AMOLED, and it has Gorilla Glass protection. And as you can see here, it has great colors. It has strong brightness level. So I just need to lower this thing down for you to see it, the beauty of its screen better. And here, as you can see, the colors are very vibrant. It is rich. It is super nice. And I think this will be great for Netflix. I haven't tried it yet for watching, but eventually I will be using this phone to watch my favorite Netflix clips. Aside from that, as you can see, the bezels are very small. Side bezels are slim, left and right, both the left and right, and the top bezel is also very slim. The shin bezel is still a little thicker than what I wanted. Of course, you cannot compare it to a high-end phone like the OnePlus 8 Pro with almost non-existent bezels. But what I like here is this. As you can see here, it has a dual punch hole, but the dual punch hole of this camera phone is very small. It is actually one of the smallest punch holes that I've ever seen on a smartphone yet. And here on top of it, there is a neatly hidden ear speaker that you can use for calls. And personally, I actually like the design of this, but it just feels a little lighter and a little flimsier compared to the older Reno3. The older Reno3, I believe, is heavier at 170 grams. This one weighs at just 165 grams, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure OPPO did something else to ensure that this phone will be durable, but it just feels a little bit lighter than what I wanted. That's the only nitpick that I have here so far. But in terms of overall build, I like that it has Gorilla Glass, and I like that it has this screen protector that is pre-installed. I forgot to mention that this phone also has a triple slot tray. So there you go. It has a triple slot tray, and you can add a nano SIM and dual nano SIM and a micro SD card. However, this phone doesn't support 5G yet, unlike its Reno4 5G variant in China. And hopefully OPPO will bring their more future-proof 5G phones here, but so far at least I think this device has better specs in terms of the processor compared to the Reno 3 before, and that should help this phone achieve a better battery life and a slightly smoother overall experience, especially when it comes to gaming and all. Coming from the OPPO Reno3, the new OPPO Reno4 sports a brand new design and improved overall specs. In particular, this handset now has a larger 6.43-inch display, and it is now using the Snapdragon 720G octa-core processor coming from the 6.4-inch and the 12nm Helio P90 octa-core processor of the older Reno 3. The RAM is the same at 8GB. The storage is the same at 128 gigs. It is a UFS 2.1 storage, and the battery is similar at around 4000 mAh. But the charging technology of this new smartphone is faster at 30 watts. It is using the new OPPO Flash Charge 4.0 technology, and basically it promises this phone to be charged in around 1 hour from 0 to 100%, and that is impressive. It also has a different camera setup. At the back, this one is now using a 48MP f1.8 plus 8MP f2.2 plus 2MP plus 2MP plus an LED flash. It's a quad camera setup. It is a little bit different compared to the Reno 3 because the Reno 3 has 48MP main camera as well, and then an ultra-wide camera, but it has a 2x optical zoom. So this doesn't have the 2x optical zoom anymore, in favor of the faster processor and improved design, as well as a different display. Anyway, the device also has 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, dual band. It's a dual band Wi-Fi, and all the sensors that you want from a mid-range smartphone. It also has high-res audio, so its USB-C port here supports high-res audio for wired earphones. It also has an in-display fingerprint reader. You can see it here. We will check it out in a bit. And it also goes with dual microphones. The colors available of this phone are galactic blue and space black. Now I want to talk about the cameras of this device. As mentioned earlier, it sports a 48MP quad camera setup with an 8MP ultra-wide angle camera and 2MP cameras for depth and macro. And in the front, it uses a 32MP camera with 2MP secondary camera. The 2MP secondary camera of this handset is designed for achieving bokeh effects. And now, since I've been using this phone for the past 5 hours, I want to show you the first camera samples that I took using this handset. Okay, the first one is this. It is a bright daylight shot, and this daylight shot is actually very detailed. The colors looks natural, and it has decent dynamic range. When I turn to the ultra-wide camera, the output is still the same. It is still very crisp. I like that the colors are consistent. Yes guys, the colors are consistent, unlike other camera where there are inconsistencies when it comes to tonal balance and overall color reproduction. And kudos to OPPO for doing that in this handset. And if you are worrying about the zoom, since it doesn't have an optical zoom camera anymore, I think the difference compared to the older Reno 3 is not that much. The 5x zoom of this handset, especially in daylight, is still quite nice. It is actually impressive. Also, this phone has a nice macro mode. As you can see in this flower shot, the details are very sharp, and it produced a natural looking background blur by just pointing your camera near the subject. And we also tried if this handset can take super zoom shots. So from the ultra wide mode is zip, and then we zoom all the way to 10x zoom. But at 10x zoom, the grain is visible, but that is understandable for a mid-ranger. But what I like here is the colors remain consistent, and this is still actually viewable. This is still better than a lot of 10 times zoom cameras that I've seen in the past. For indoor close-up shots, this device is doing better than what I expected. The details are still crisp and the bokeh effect is still nice. We also tried the zoom for indoors, and as long as you have good lighting, the result will still be great up to around 5 times. As you can see here, the eyes of Jollibee is still very detailed even at 5 times zoom. In low light, the quality of the phone will suffer a little, and that is understandable, but the details are still respectable for me at least, and the colors are still not washed, and that's a good sign. It also has this night mode, the handheld night mode feature. It's a long exposure function that allowed me to take better looking images in the dark with nicer dynamic range and slightly brighter exposure and less noise. And that works even in the ultra wide angle camera mode, which is very useful because the quality of the ultra wide cameras dips when you shoot in low light, so the night mode really helps. For selfies, the 32MP camera of this handset performed very well in daylight. It's detailed, it is crisp, and the color reproduction is respectable. If you turn on the face beauty, the color of your skin will be whiter. It will be lighter, but the details are still there. Since this one has a secondary camera for depth effect, I can notice on this selfie shot with background blur that the separation is actually pretty good. And as you can also notice, I forgot to mention earlier, the selfie camera of this phone is quite wide. Personally, I would have liked it better if the secondary camera is an ultra-wide angle camera, but since the main camera, the main 32MP camera of this handset is already quite wide, I'm not complaining that much. In low light, obviously the quality will dip, will suffer a little, but if you turn on the night mode, yes guys, it has a night mode for selfies, you will get better results. For videos, this phone can shoot up to 4K 30fps, and as you can see here, this is a low light video shot, and the details are still okay, and surprisingly, the stabilization is respectable. It is very decent. When you switch to the 1080p mode, you can access the Ultra Steady and Ultra Steady Pro. The regular Ultra Steady mode is for the main camera, and the Ultra Steady Pro is for the ultra wide camera. And since we are shooting in low light, quality, the details are not super crisp, but what I would like to note here is the superb stabilization of the phone. There are some jitters when I use the ultra wide camera mode while on ultra steady mode, but guys, for a phone that will not have a high-end price tag, this is still quite remarkable. Actually, even for selfies, the quality of this handset is decent, and the field of view is a little bit wide, but of course the shake will be more evident since it doesn't have the ultra steady mode anymore for 1080p selfies. Another notable function of its camera is it has the ability to take up to 960fps super slow motion. This is the type of super slow motion that doesn't look bad. My quick thoughts, I like that the phone is very stylish. It has an AMOLED display, you get decent specs, and then the cameras are actually impressive, especially for taking videos and taking night shots, and the consistency of the colors is very impressive, especially for mid-ranger. And so far I'm happy with this phone. I just hope that the price is right. If OPPO can price this the same as the OPPO Reno4 before, this has a good chance to really sell well. So guys, that's it. I will be exploring this handset in the next few days, so stay tuned for our full report as well as our full review. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is me, Peter of GIZGUIDEPH.com. I hope that all of you guys will stay safe and well during this quarantine season.